They say romance is dead, and they're probably right. 60% of people are meeting their partners on dating apps and then getting into unfulfilling situationships with men who have apartments that look like this. Trust me, friends, they're not gonna change, so don't even bother. It's no wonder then why dating shows in the last few years have exploded in popularity. If love is escaping us, how about watching others in their flawed and messy pursuit to find it themselves? Or, more accurately, their pursuit to find mild social media fame. The show that best exemplifies this and really started it all is Love Island, the original version asking the question, what if we got 12 of the most stupid, the most attractive, and most horned up British people with the weirdest accents imaginable? But what if I told you we could have all of that but gay? Introducing the newest season of For the Love of Daddies. Pardon the minor censorship, YouTube really hates the acronym DIL. You can fill in the last letter for yourself. And I should know, I covered the heterosexual version of the show a while ago, and YouTube sent me a mean message telling me that I have a dirty mouth and an even dirtier mind. For the Love of Daddies is hosted by Stormy Daniels, who is probably most famous for porking our modern-day Grover Cleveland, and features two competing groups: hot young himbos and older, mature, sexy daddies, as the two groups vie for each other's hearts, and frankly as well as their cocks, and also vie for a $10,000 cash prize. And if you thought that Love Island at times was exploitative and gross, well, buckle up because you haven't really seen anything yet. Get ready for gratuitous thirst trap shots, manufactured gay pettiness, and about 1 million bottom jokes. In today's episode, we are examining Queer Love Island. We are taking a look at the first episode of For the Love of Daddies. So grab a front row seat. It's time to see why not all queer representation is created equal. My name is Patrick, but my friends call me Pat, and if you enjoy my videos, enjoy my content, like and comment on this video, gets it out to more people. I am also on social media, usernames there, links down below in the description. Heart back by popular demand. See, I got even gayer for this one. Ooh, ooh. Gay Love Island, or excuse me, For the Love of Daddies, is not a show I would describe as being particularly mainstream. From what I can tell, it is one of the biggest, if not the biggest show being produced by a Canadian media company called OUTtv.
Hey kid, do you want to buy a elephant or some other large comical purchase?
That seems like an exceptionally stupid idea.
Come on, I'm sure you have the money for it.
Actually, thanks to today's sponsor, Rocket Money, I can confidently tell you that large circus animals are not my budget. Rocket Money is an all-in-one personal finance app that helps you cancel subscriptions, lower your bills, and manage your money better. I've personally been using Rocket Money for about 2 years now, and it's allowed me to actually think critically about how I'm spending my money and to budget my money like an actual adult. Which is helpful, given I didn't really learn about this in school.
But did you learn about the Battle of Hastings?
You mean the 1066 conflict between William of Normandy and Harold Godwinson, resulting in his slaying and altering the course of England forever?
Yes, that one.
Yeah, they did. But Rocket Money can help with all the other stuff. I can go right on the app and set up custom budgets and establish my personal savings goals. And of course, Rocket Money has also saved consumers over $500 million with their feature to cancel unwanted subscriptions in just a few clicks. So to save more and spend less, join the over 5 million members using Rocket Money today. Go to rocketmoney.com/myfriendscallmepat or click my link down below in the description. Again, that's rocketmoney.com/myfriendscallmepat or the link down below in the description. Thanks to Rocket Money for sponsoring. Now back to your regularly scheduled programming. But OUTtv has actually been around for quite a while. Originally, they were a premium cable channel, and it was the first such channel in Canada to be offering 24-hour programming exclusively targeted towards queer audiences, which is kind of cool. Their success was somewhat limited, at least at first, because after midnight, they would play adult queer materials, if you understand what I'm talking about, and that means that on the West Coast, it would start literally at 9 p.m. So theoretically, you could get back from hockey practice, objectively the gayest sport that they play in Canada, you do your homework, you eat dinner, and then you turn on OUTtv and have your in-high-school queer awakening. For me, what was it for me, honestly? I think it's just the realization that I was really attracted to Justin from Total Drama Island, and that right away, because that guy gave nothing except for being hot, and I was like, yes, he's my favorite. When he was like the second boot, I was devastated, and I should not have been. But OUTtv is also responsible for making the Canadian version of RuPaul's Drag Race, notable in that RuPaul was not actually present on the show. So in a sense, Gay Love Island for the Love of Daddies could be the show that catapults OUTtv into the mainstream on the backs of their himbos and their daddies. Again, those are the names of the two groups. Before you give me grief in the comments, I am not going to be making fun of this show because I hate queer media and I hate queer stories being told. Although the idea that we're going to be calling what we're going to watch next a queer story is a little bit ridiculous, but I guess by virtue of there being queer people and it being a story, by definition, it is a queer story. But I'm going to be making fun of the show because all dating shows are inherently insane, ridiculous, and really funny to watch. The least ridiculous one I can think of is probably The Golden Bachelorette or something, but even in that show, there are 50-something men and 60-something men being told, hey, you have to go do a sexy dance routine to win a date with Joan. So even that show is plenty ridiculous for my taste. I spent a lot of time studying reality television, both in a casual sense by watching every season of Big Brother, and in a formal sense of having read multiple different academic papers in college about reality television and about non-fiction production in general. And I find dating shows to be particularly interesting because of what they represent. Generally, they represent traditional values, heterosexuality, attractiveness, the ideal that at the end of your life, it should be one ending in a traditional heterosexual relationship or marriage, even if the premise of the dating show is ridiculous and nonsensical. Like, here's this really hot guy, here's 20 women who are all swooning over him, that's all crazy, but the end goal of all of that is a nice, traditional, heterosexual marriage. Never mind the fact that most reality TV marriages, if they even happen at all, go up in flames and end in disaster, but that all happens after the cameras stop rolling, so who gives a shit? And I think it's part of the reason why most mainstream production companies who are making dating shows don't really make queer dating shows. In case you were just born yesterday, by the way, welcome to the world, glad you're here. You picked a pretty terrible time to be born, but that wasn't really your call, was it? It's okay though, because in a few years you'll learn about the joys of doom scrolling, and I would love to see a pilgrim try that. But let me give you a little bit of a history lesson. Gays have not gotten a lot of love in history, and frankly, in the present as well. So in some ways, I am kind of grateful that this show exists. And honestly, this show reminds me of a lot of the jokes that were being made around the time that gay marriage was legalized across the entire country in Obergefell v. Hodges. By the way, enjoy that one while you still can, everybody. Oh.
Now, I am usually an optimist. I'm a keg is half full kind of guy.
You no longer need to be a heterosexual, muscle-bound hunk to be objectified on reality television. Now you can be a gay twink and be objectified on reality television. So, yay, progress! Or this is maybe more accurately how I feel, yay, progress? Question mark? As I mentioned at the top of the video, perhaps the most noteworthy thing about this show is its host, Stormy Daniels. In case you're not familiar with US politics, Stormy Daniels is the woman who had sex with Donald Trump, the soon-to-be president of the United States, who then paid her money to stay silent about it, which he was found guilty of in criminal court of 34 felonies relating to that, and because our justice system is so functional, he will not serve a day in jail or prison. Everything is working out exactly as intended, isn't it? And given that she gets to host a Love Island for gays, who's the real winner here? Because she gets to arrive into Daddy Mansion, again, that's the acronym I can't say, that's what it's actually called, it's acronym Mansion, while driving in a sports car and being literally chased by a bunch of shirtless men. And she gets her own drink named after her, Stormy Brew or whatever it's called. That's pretty nice. But frankly, calling these men shirtless is a little generous because they're really not wearing much of anything, and the camera loves to linger around this area, a little lower, a little bit, you can't see it on screen, if you catch my drift. And when the only thing someone's wearing is a Speedo, like, all you're seeing, that's it. Like, that is a person's private parts right there. There is, like, maybe a nanometer of fabric separating you from something that is illicit material. This entire video is a delicate dance to avoid getting censored by the algorithm, so wish me luck, everybody. I will unfortunately have to be omitting most of these shots of this area from the review, but trust me, they're there, and they're a lot. I do not like them, Stormy Dan. I do not like the bulge of man. I would not like them on my show. I do not like them. No, no, no. If that dick starts to grow, there will go all my dough. Because of the demonetization. See, you get it. I kind of lost it a little bit at the end there, but I think Dr. Seuss would be proud of that. Oh, no, he wouldn't. Anyways, what we're covering today is on season 3, because that's the season that is literally releasing now as we speak. But don't worry, in case you were concerned that it wasn't going to top the other 2 seasons, the narrator has a solution to that.
You may be wondering, after 2 seasons of hot himbo on daddy romance, how can they top themselves? And to that I say, we can't top ourselves. That's what the daddies are for.
If we were to hydrate ourselves every time there was a top or bottom joke being made by the narrator, we would all be dead of overhydration, because there are so many in the show. And this is about as good a time as any to introduce our lovely narrator, voiced by Phil Horn, who, when I went to go check their IMDb page, this is literally their only credit, so make of that what you will. We all have to start our careers somewhere, right? I mean, for some people it's commercials, for some people it's theater, for some people it's voicing a judgmental, all-knowing queer narrator who makes fun of people on gay Love Island. We can't pick when our big break comes.
I can't promise romance, but I can promise a filthy frat party, complete with tidy whities, later tonight.
Oh yes, and perhaps I should have led with this. The title of today's episode is Tighty Whitey Fighty. This, of course, being a reference to the worst underwear a person can possibly buy, and also reference to the fact that the guys are gonna be wearing them and getting spanked. There is no shot I am showing that on the video, but it happens. It happens in their tighty whities. I would love to show you one more of the pre-season preview clips that they play in the first 45 seconds of the episode, just to give you a little bit of a taste as to what we're going to be in for and where my headspace was going into the other 45 minutes of the show, because it's quite something.
How was my daddy's
Oh, he's your daddy.
Yeah.
On an unrelated note, I am available for Season 4, guys. I am trying to fast-track my status to gay iconography.
I'm a gay icon.
So she gives us the actual structure of the show and tells us that the narrator is actually an in-universe character named Dr. Acronym I still can't say. And she also tells us that the people in this show are going to be doing something pretty unique. They are going to be competing for $10,000. Which you almost never see in modern-day reality shows, where the prize of love at the end of the tunnel is thought to be its own reward. But that is not the case here at all, because here, at the end of the show, everybody is going to vote on the couple they feel is the most likely to succeed, very yearbook superlative coded, and then that couple is going to win $10,000, courtesy of Scruff, which is a gay dating app. And as with all gay dating apps, it's important to put the word dating in quotation marks. I actually think that the cash prize is a really good idea in this format, because if you were to compare gay men in aggregate to any animal, I would have to say rabbits. They're cute, they're fluffy, they can even defend themselves and go crazy, like in that one cartoon, Watership Down. But chiefly, they are known for one thing in particular. Heterosexual men, I think, are like aardvarks. They're the first in the dictionary, but do they really deserve to be there? But the cash prize actually gives contestants on this show to find somebody they specifically feel they are the most compatible with. Because if they're just going around, kind of bouncing around the house, they're probably not going to be getting that cash prize at the end of it. Which, to each their own. Do what you want to do, but if you're trying to win that cheddar at the end of the day, you gotta be thinking strategically and find love. Strategically. It's the strategy that'll work the best. That's the meta of this show. Very rarely do you see reality competition shows where the meta is to find true love. But anyway, keep all that in mind, because I'm going to show you some of the theme song, and that's probably going to be centered in your mind, because it is crazy.
Daddy, oh daddy, oh 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 daddy, 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 oh daddy, D-A-D-D-Y. Daddy, oh daddy, oh 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 daddy, 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 oh daddy, D-A-D-D-Y.
Did Freud ever talk about men having daddy issues? I don't know if he did, but either way, I'm going to display the Freud alert right there, and I'm gonna activate it right now. He's gonna be periodically coming up throughout the rest of the video. The 4 daddies in this episode are Nicholas, Victor, Fox, and David, and we're gonna mostly be talking about Victor and David because they are into the same guy. I know, crazy for a show like this. We're having that plot line. But I want to bring up something rather interesting and relevant to the discussion: age. The only information we get about the ages of the cast throughout the episode are provided directly from the cast themselves, and only about half of them provide that to us in their introduction. On most dating shows like this, it's literally in all of their intro packages we get that information right away, and in the female equivalent of this show, the ages of basically everybody, except for the men initially, were plastered right on all of the confessionals every single time they had something to say. I still don't know how old Victor is. He could be anywhere from like 38 to 55. Either way though, frankly, he is killing it. But I bring this up because age is a particularly touchy subject, obviously in society at large, but also more specifically in the gay community. After all, in the gay community, ideas like twink death are very prevalent. The idea that once a twink reaches the age of 25, all their hair will fall out, they'll gain a bunch of wrinkles, they'll gain weight, and they will implode in on themselves like a dying star. Or do they explode? I don't know. I got a 2 on my AP Physics exam, so don't come to me with questions like that. But the age cited for that aforementioned twink death can actually vary, with it happening, in some people's opinions, as early as 19 years old, and for some people, happening on their 22nd birthday. So, you know, past those milestones, so I think I'm still good. Either way, I think it's fair to say that gay men in aggregate are pretty self-conscious about their age and aging, and I think that's evidenced by about half the people in this cast not actually revealing what their age is. And I just want to say to everybody who's really worried about aging and getting older, you should stop worrying, because worrying is going to stress you out, and that's going to cause more wrinkles. Alright, on a serious note, you know, aging is an indisputable fact of life. It's always going to happen. Society is always going to be weird about it. It's best just to try to not let it get to you that much. I feel like that's decent to maybe leaning bad advice, but I mean, what are you expecting? We're here to critically analyze For the Love of Daddies and make fun of a reality show. You're not getting the best life advice of your life here. In my opinion, dying, rational fear. Aging, you know, who cares? Because the people you're going to be going after are going to be wrinkly too, unless you're on the show, of course. Anyway, back to the show. The show is still insane because the men are going to talk about the attributes they want in their partners. They're going to be talking about very sane things like, oh, I want them to be good at communication. I want to have someone who I can really get to know and someone who really understands me. And they're talking about like their backgrounds and all that. And while all of this is happening, we are seeing thirst trap shots of this area and that area.
Hi, I'm David, 39 years old, originally from New Jersey.
He's talking about how he's from New Jersey. There's absolutely nothing sexy about New Jersey, except for a nice Taylor ham sandwich, I guess. But other than that, absolutely nothing.
I'm looking for someone who we can be a cheerleader for to each other.
Now he's telling us about what he wants out of a relationship. Do I really need to see thirst trap shots of his moobs? His morests? No, I don't. On the himbo side, we get Danny, Timmy, Jay, and Justin. 2/4 of those people look like gay men I've actually met in my real life, and one of those gay men I have potentially slept with. So comment down below if you want to guess on who you think that is. They're introduced to the daddies. I'm not going to say their daddies. This feels wrong. Anyway, they're wearing hazmat suits.
I had the himbos cover up so the daddies could have a chance to get to know them before they get distracted by the speedos.
And by the way, every time this man says daddies in his accent, I want to die a little bit. No, I want to die a lot of bit. on the inside. And on the subject of the age discussion we were just having, Danny, during his intro packet, instead of saying his age, describes himself as something, well, I'll just let him say it for you.
Hi, universe. Nice to meet you. My name is Danny, and I'm Los Angeles' premier pocket bottom.
And after he says that, the producers, for lack of a better word, make him assume the bottom position.
Please assume the position.
I, again, feel like I should not be here. This feels a little bit too intimate. I've just met this person who is a real person, and I am seeing what he would look like in the context of... let's move on. Timmy, who is also going to be one of the larger characters in this episode, happens to be from upstate New York. So, go Bills! Upstate pride.
The Bills make me wanna shout, kick your heels up and shout.
He also gives us this absolute gem of a clip.
And I don't know about the other himbos, but I'm here to find my daddy.
Freud alert, red hot Freud alert. Excuse me, after watching that, I have to go to my nearest church. Alrighty, we're back. Jay is interesting because he defines to us what exactly it means to be a himbo.
Being a himbo, it's not about being stupid. It's actually about healing your inner child and just showing the inner child to the world.
It's great that Jay wants to show his inner child to the world because I'm having to censor his outer X for YouTube. He brings up an interesting point though, because inherent to the word himbo is the presumption of stupidity. Himbo being the combination of the word him, to show that it's a man, and bimbo, which is a bit of a pejorative term for a woman who's thought to be very attractive, but very unintelligent. But did you know that the term bimbo used to be a unisex term, describing both stupid men and stupid women in the early 1900s, late 1800s, before falling out of fashion, but then being resurrected in a particularly female context after the sex scandals of the 1980s and 1990s, including but are not limited to Oliver North, Gary Hart, and Bill Clinton? Oh, you don't care. Okay. No, my feelings are fine. My feelings aren't hurt at all. That's fine. We'll go back to the show. In case you were bored by that etymological tangent, all of the himbos in this show are definitely kind of painted with a big ol' stupid brush. And you can kind of tell based on the clips that are included in the show.
Okay. Jesus, what is this? A boombox from the 70s?
Okay. They called it a boombox, and I'm like, it's not even a box, it's a rectangle. I was mad confused.
Not beating the himbo allegations, I'm afraid. The narrator even draws attention to when the himbos do something that would subvert the expectation of stupidity.
This bottom's got brains!
Justin, however, is probably not beating the allegations of said stupidity because he routinely refers to himself as fun-employed when he's not finishing up his undergrad degree, like... You're just in college. Like, you're a student. You are not unemployed, fun or otherwise. Your occupation is that you're a student. Anyways, as the show puts it, time to unwrap the candy.
I say we should unwrap the candy.
Barf, by the way. As this is happening, Dr. Acronym, I still can't say, gives a vicious takedown of Danny. Take a look.
When the daddies see me, they're definitely gonna be wondering, can I accomplish that? Can I mount that? Is that possible?
Not only possible, but probable.
And good lord, I don't know if there is any way to recover mentally from the gay Love Island narrator saying that you would put out on the first date. Like, how do you come back from that? This takes us to the central love triangle of the episode. David and Victor are both into Timmy. Two older men fighting over a bottom used to be something you could only see in ancient Greece, but now we can watch it from the comfort of our own home, and I just think that's kind of beautiful. I think the main thing that gets me about this is how irrational Victor's attraction to Timmy feels in the context of what is presented to us in the episode. Take a look at this interaction about poetry.
I'm curious, do you have any favorite poets or poems?
I have not read a lot of poetry, but I'm definitely open to it.
Okay.
Like, the only stuff I've heard is, like, roses are red and violets are blue.
So right away, I just want to tell all of you, for those of you who don't necessarily know a lot about reality TV production, that this scene is manufactured to look more awkward than it actually was in reality. Immediately after he plays the question, there are 2 clips of silence of both him and Timmy set to music. Now, why they're doing that? Well, I'll tell you, because that is not how it happened in reality. It is edited to look more awkward than it actually is. What actually happened was the editors took footage from them listening to somebody else speaking, could have been at any point in that conversation, but they put music over it so we don't know what's actually being said, and then they cut to the actual answer. It's deceptive editing like that you'll see all the time in reality television. It's just part of how editors build a narrative. I think it's particularly obvious here because, well, to tell you the God's honest truth, this show does not really seem to have the biggest budget going off of their cameras that we see at other points scattered throughout the mansion, but still. The one thing that you cannot edit, though, is footage of his actual answer, which does not really strike me as super intelligent. And perhaps that might be a clue that this 21-year-old social media manager does not have a lot in common with you, someone who is a writer living in Los Angeles. Actually, well, when I say it like that, maybe it sounds like they do have a lot in common, but the chemistry is just not there. David, the other part of this love triangle, latches onto something more tangible, the fact that Timmy details the times he was bullied for being gay when he was growing up in upstate New York, and fact check, didn't have it as bad as Timmy, but can confirm homophobia. It's a thing. But according to the narrator, perhaps instead of being moved by Timmy's deeply personal story, maybe he was just looking for some fame and was moved by the fact that Timmy brought out a voice memo from his boss, Paris Hilton.
If Timmy thought a voice note from a celebrity would get him more attention from these fame-hungry daddies, he's absolutely correct.
I'm starting to think that Dr. Acronym, I still can't say, has a rather dim view, not just of gay men, but of society at large. But after Justin shares his views on bottoming, maybe, just maybe, the narrator can change his mind.
I am politically, ideologically, and morally opposed to bottoming, that's right.
A true himbo doesn't have to be a bottom. He just has to be constantly mistaken for one.
The first real big twist of the season is that both teams of himbos and daddies have to take a boombox and listen to tapes of 2 prospective himbos and 2 prospective daddies and vote one of them into the house. And one of the daddies is named Patrick, so that really hits me.
What's up, daddies? I'm Patrick. I'm a world traveler, entrepreneur, and a chronic thrill seeker. I'm ready to redefine what it means to be a daddy with a himbo who likes an edge.
The thought of having a fellow Patrick on one of these shows, I don't really want to think about it that much, to be honest with you, because then I would have to hear, like, the himbos, like, talking about Patrick, I'm not, my mind does not want to go there. He's one of the daddies too. I don't know if I'd feel better or worse if I was seeing somebody who had my name, like, with clear daddy issues, or being the daddy issues, or being the suave older men that younger, let's please move on. Thank God they don't actually pick him. They pick the other guy, the daddies do, because he sounds less confident, more tired, and less sexy. And they're right. They are right. But of course, in true reality television fashion, of course, when they get to meet him, the guy is still sexy, because why would he not be, right? But Victor then initiates a conversation with David where he's like, hey, I'm really into Timmy. And David's like, oh, that's kind of awkward because I'm also really into Timmy. And they're both like, oh. And it's like, oh. Then they shake hands and they both feel confident. And they're like, I'm going to be the one that gets Timmy. But the last set piece of the episode is a gay frat party. And I'll admit the decor is, it's a little cute. Fox, who I've mentioned literally once in the introduction, starts to become a little bit possessive of Jay, which, makes sense because Fox seems like he has a lot to offer.
In my mind, I'm a top chef. I can feed you and fuck you.
And then we meet the 2 new people who were just voted in. Samuel, the Habibi himbo, and he self-identifies as that. I did not just make that up. And then Robert, the person who everyone thought wouldn't be sexy, but he's sexy. Wow. He just sounded tired on the tape. So, despite being tired, he's still quite sexy. Relatable, by the way. And somehow, he is also from upstate New York. He is from Buffalo.
The buffalo from Buffalo, who are buffaloed by the buffalo.
I bet you thought I didn't have another upstate New York / Buffalo reference, but I did. I hope there's not a third one in this video because I may or may not, but definitely don't have a third Buffalo themed reference. And I will say Robert is probably one of, if not the most interesting casting choice on the show because his appearance on For the Love of Daddies is literally him coming out of the closet. He was married to a woman for many years, he has a daughter, and he is picked going on this daddy dating show to tell the world that he is gay. And I'm not going to make fun of a man starting his gay journey, you know, happy for the guy. And frankly, the fact that he picked a TV show that's being produced by OUTtv, you know, kind of all makes sense, doesn't it? Because he is certainly now out. And because he's out, he's going right into the frying pan, and we're seeing thirst trap shots of his abs. Victor, perhaps realizing he is facing some competition for Timmy, starts to form a connection with Danny, and the two bond over the fact that they like to do work that benefits queers of color in the larger gay community. Again, it's reality television, it's selectively edited, whatever, but I feel like even on this brief conversation, they have much better chemistry, they have so much more in common than him with Timmy. Like why is he coveting this person? Like, they don't seem compatible at all, and I need to tone it down a little bit because I'm getting way too invested already in these people and their relationships. I need to rein it in. Stormy announces to everybody that this will be a non-elimination episode, which, like, I didn't even realize there were going to be eliminations, so I'm crossing my fingers and my toes that hopefully this transitions into, like, all gay Survivor and they have to start voting each other out and doing immunity challenges. Like, that would be awesome. So that is our pilot. It's ridiculous in a lot of ways, but quite tame / even a little bit charming in others, I feel. But to tell you the God's honest truth, this episode feels a lot like the calm before an incredible storm. Because in my experience as a gay man, you know, a couple gay men meet each other for the first time, you know, initially everything's cool. It's all quiet on the Western Front, nothing bad is happening for the moment. But if you'll permit me, I'd like to use another animal metaphor to describe gay men, this time lions. Because when two lions meet each other, they have to decide, are we gonna start fighting, or are we gonna start fighting? Or a secret third option, to queen out. After all, it is called a pride of lions, right? You thought you were getting away without a bad pun, but you didn't. Although I did do that whole Dr. Seuss bit, so I guess maybe I've done too many bad puns. Who's to say? Although that's just like rhyming. Are you rhyming words? Is that pun? Let's keep let's keep going. I think in modern day America, queer people are in a rather turbulent position, and I don't just mean politically, I mean in the realm of public opinion as well. For the first time in 10 years, it really feels like there is going to be an erosion not just of political and civil liberties, but of public perception. And I want to be very clear that as a member of the queer community, an attack on one of us is an attack on all of us. It's an attack on every straight person with a semblance of moral decency. It's something that requires urgent moral action. And I think we're going to have to be, unfortunately, seeing a lot of that, not just in the next 4 years, but beyond that, given how the US government and its systems are structured. So in some ways, I almost want to say having queer representation in a traditionally very heterosexual arena could be beneficial. But like, for example, a man kissing another man used to be a lot less common 20 years ago than it is today. It's become more common, so much so that like you can be sloppy kissing on the subway and be gay, and you can be sloppy kissing on the subway and be straight. And I say sloppy kissing, I don't want to really call it gross because this is my ultimate hot take. I am actually really not opposed to PDA as long as it's like not going over an insane line, right? Because I see that and I'm like, oh, they're in love. Even when I was single, I'm seeing that and be like, that's why I grind. That's why I wake up and why I grind. So I can eventually be sitting where you're sitting. So I don't really mind PDA. What is the point of this? Oh, let me get back to it. So one could maybe argue that having a horned up gay version of the horned up heterosexual shows that are very popular in mainstream modern day American culture could be beneficial. Maybe. One could argue that. Am I arguing that? I don't know, man. This show's crazy. This show is wild. It's insane. Comment down below if you want me to watch episode 2 and beyond. Because I think it's only going to get worse or better if you like people being incredibly messy and incredibly petty. But that's going to do it for me, guys. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you've enjoyed it, please leave a like, please comment. It helps get this video out to more people, which allows me to make more videos for you guys. I super duper appreciate it. But let me know in the comments down below what you think of this. Like, is it crazy? Is it not crazy? Is it like, should it be more popular? Are you going to recommend this show to your friends? It was very difficult to actually watch it because when I went to subscribe on their website, they would not let me. I had to go through Amazon. But yeah, leave a comment down below, and remember, I do read every comment, and as always, my name is Patrick, but my friends call me Pat, and I will see you for the next one.